up, what up, what up? You're rocking with your host, one half of ME Online. You're tuned in with a new segment of mine, Thinking Out Loud with Sonofajones. Now, normally when I'm here, I'm with my comrade, Azar, the other half, the brilliance behind everything we do. But I'm just trying something different. I'm spitballing. Just coming up with a new segment just to give y'all some content. Appreciate everybody who rocks with us, whether it's one person or 1,000 people. Now, we just finished dropping episode 24 on all of our platforms, /MV Online everywhere. Today, just coming up with something new. I'm going to mess up, but yo, I'm rocking with y'all. I just came to kick with y'all for a few minutes. Like your favorite pastor said in church, I'm not going to be here long before y'all. So, first topic, I just want to think out loud with y'all. On the social media channels, I saw Republican politician Nikki Haley. Pardon me stumbling. Now, she came out and said that she is going to propose that the retirement age be moved to 70 years old. Are you shitting me? I've been in the workforce since 14 years old, and I'm old right now. I'm in my 30s. I know y'all can see my hairline hanging on for dear life. Shout out to my barber. He does an amazing job. He sprays that black stuff up there. Trust me. If I swipe one good time, my hairline is going to lean back. But anyway, back to Nikki Haley. She's proposing the retirement age be moved up to 70. Now, I got my comrade, my engineer behind the camera, shooting all this to make it look nice. Somebody I respect, somebody who served this country. Just real quick, what are your thoughts on Nikki Haley proposing that the retirement age be moved up to 70 as opposed to 67?
I think that they should do something to fix the budgetary hole as opposed to trying to make people work longer. And they should balance the budget in a way that makes the current system solvent so you can retire at a reasonable age. I think that raising the retirement age is just kicking the can down the road when you could really just fix the budget problem and probably have a better outcome.
I agree with that. I'm going to take it a step further. I agree with everything you said about fixing the budget. That's something we do need to do. Now, I'm not good into math, and I'm not going to give you the whole, we just need to stop spending here, but it does alarm the younger voters when we constantly go online and we see, hey, $1 billion sent here, $1 billion sent here, but we might not have enough money for Social Security when you're ready to retire. So I definitely agree with that. The thing that's alarming to me is that it's starting to feel like things that we worked hard for, not 20 years ago, not 30 years ago, but in my lifetime. And I'll give you an example. 10 years ago, it's no longer starting to be attainable. So you don't feel like the money you work hard for, you can enjoy. So I'm going to give you a small example. I've been driving for a while, about 15, 16 years. You remember when you can get a brand new BMW and a car note was about spitball, $400 a month. $400 a month. Y'all follow me with this. You know what you can get today for $400 a month for a car note? A used Nissan with 150,000 miles on it. See, back in my day, I hate to sound old, you were working hard to get that nice Lexus, that nice BMW, Audi, whatever, and a car note be $300-$400 a month for a brand new. You're not getting no Hellcat with $300-$400 a month. Same thing with housing. I remember, I'm from that era with $500 apartments, studios, $650 2-bedroom apartments. And if you spend $700, you were in a stick somewhere. What are you getting a day with $700, $800, $900, $1,000? Pretty much a hole in the wall, not even a studio. I think studios in our area are starting off with, what, $700, $800? I think I heard somebody say a studio starting at $800. A studio, not a 1-bedroom, a studio. So proposing to Gen Z, or is it Gen X? Who's the 20-year-old? Z? My bad, I don't mean to offend y'all. So proposing to that generation that you're about to move the goalposts while you're running for an election, that you're going to propose the retirement age be pushed to 70, and the whole thing with a life expectancy. Let me touch here with this, with life expectancy. If you can afford health insurance, so you can go to your doctor's appointments to check yourself, to check your heart, to check your colon, to check your dental care, because dental care is very important as well. All that stuff has to do, it all works together. If you cannot afford that, then what's going to happen? Your body's going to break down a lot earlier. And unfortunately, you may have ailments that you're not checking. So all that talk of life expectancy in America, oh, we got the best medicine and so forth. If you can afford the health insurance to stay on top of your health care and your oral care. I don't see it happens. So like I said when I first started this, are you shitting me? Nobody's looking to work into their 70 and not knowing if you're going to die the next year. 67 is bad enough. 67 is bad enough. Like I said, y'all see my hairline hanging on for dear life. I'm about a good 5 years away before I call Pablo and them, or before I buy a house in the mountain of Puerto Rico and disappear. I can't see myself working at 70. That's it on that topic. I'm spitballing ideas. I'm into hip hop. We cover hip hop with Envy Online. That's the crux of this platform. It was built on us loving hip hop. So in hip hop news, shout out to our dear brother Yasin Bey, aka Mos Def, aka the Hotep Shuffle. He gets in an interview. They released a clip with him talking about our dear Canadian brother Drake. Yasin Bey goes on. I'm just going to give you the footnotes. They asked him, do you think Drake is hip hop or Drake is pop? One or the other. Yasin Bey, aka Mos Def, goes on to say something to the effect that his music belongs in Target. His music belongs in Target now. So, I understand why the younger generation gets tired of his old heads, because that was some hating ass shit. I respect Yasin Bey, great lyricist. He does a lot of great work. He's also a great actor. Go look up him in a lot of his acting roles. The dude is an artist through and through. But to say Drake music belongs in Target, see, y'all think y'all slick out there. Y'all think y'all slick out there. I'm old enough to remember when they used to do that to Jay-Z in 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003. See, a lot of cats weren't at Jay-Z level at that time when he was reaching his heights in his career. So they used to throw it out there, oh, Jay's pop, Jay, yeah, Jay's hip hop, but he ain't like us, he ain't gritty, he don't get down no more. To me, that's just some hating shit to say you're not where they're at, so you're trying to downplay their success. If you follow Drake's career, we all know Drake is hip hop. Let's stop the bullshit. Let's stop. I'm not saying he's like Pharoah Monch but Drake is hip hop. He studied the culture, he lives the culture, and his early work with those mixtapes, like, let's stop. To the whole consumerism thing, let me show y'all something real quick. I'm gonna bring it up on my phone and hopefully we can get it in focus. Give me about 30 seconds. Yasin Bey, let's pull this up. So he was recently, directly after these comments, he was recently in Paris giving a performance. This is after he just said Drake sounds like he belongs in Target. I'm gonna play this, maybe we can get it in focus just a little bit. Don't know if you get this in focus. If you can't get it in focus, I'm gonna talk after this. My engineer is looking like we can't get it in focus. Whatever. Go on Twitter, type in Yasin Bey in Paris. I'm gonna give you the context. He's performing at a Paris Fashion Week. This is after he just called Drake out for his consumerism rap, while he's rapping for luxurious brands in Paris for people who don't look like us. And it sounded horrible. Look, I'm going to be straight up. I saw all your comments online where people was like, yo, don't gas Drake up. He don't want it with Mos Def or Yasin Bey. Let's keep it at that wow. What is Yasin Bey going to do with Drake? See, I'm from the era hip-hop is a sport. You call somebody out, you got to be able to back that up. I'm going to give you another analogy. I like basketball. When you used to go to the park, you couldn't yell, yo, you ain't like that. You had to run the ones. You had to run the ones no matter how nice you was. If you thought you was like that and you went from park to park in your neighborhood and somebody said you wasn't like that, or you said they weren't like that, you was gonna have to play and get to the bottom of it. Same thing in hip hop. You can't go around talking about somebody's commercial lies or they're not this and they're not that. I'm sorry, the last thing, and once again, he's well respected. I'm gonna show him some love. He did a great verse where he was featured on West Side Gun's track with him and Talib Kweli. I think the track is called Peppers. Again, he was featured on a West Side Gun's track with him and Talib Kweli. Great bar work. I'm giving him his praises. But outside of that, he don't come outside. And this thing of ours called hip hop. You're not outside, Yasin Bey. You got to come outside. Drake, if I'm you, look, don't turn down no county fades. Drake, don't turn down, like, if I'm you, I would start to be aggressive. As soon as you say my name, I'm in the booth. If I'm Drake, I'm gassing. You know what? As a fan, I'm gassing you up, Drake. Please end this dude career, man. Last time we heard from Yasin Bey, he was out in South Africa, getting kicked out of South Africa, doing some illegal passport stuff. Like, that's what we heard of you from in the media. And no disrespect to your faith or whatever consciousness you follow, but that's what we heard from you from. Drake's been putting in work. So if you want to hop in the ring in this thing of ours called hip hop, drop a track or stop, man. Because this is why the young bulls looking at us like we be hating in our old age. Drake, go in the booth and throw some shots. And if he want to respond, then run the fade. If not, stomp him out. I'm going to be honest. Drake goes and pinning that bar work. You back to the underground. You was already underground, but if Drake go pit in that bar work, I don't know when we're going to hear from you again. That's on that topic. Still in the land of hip hop. Our brother Meek Mills, I need you to come in front of the congregation. Come in front of the congregation, Meek Mill. So here's the context. Meek Mills puts out a tweet. And when you read the initial tweet, there's not too much wrong with it. Let me pull up the tweet real quick. Hopefully I can find it. Okay, so here's the tweet. I'm going to read it. I'm going to give the context and then I'm going to give my stuff. Do a lot of people play my music in South Africa? I remember having a big show there a few years back. There's nothing wrong with that first sentence. Here's where we look at this, and I got some questions. How do y'all listen to our music in South Africa? On what platform in Nigeria? Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me, Robert? You're asking the continent of Africa, where we get our resources from to run these phones, do they have access to the same DSPs as we do? Are we really doing this in 2024? Really, Meek? Put your phone down or pick it up and go to Google. That's one. Number two, why that's problematic. It feeds into the whole stereotype that people outside of America, whether we're talking about South America, whether we're talking about in the Caribbean, whether we're talking about in Asia or on the continent of Africa, that they're living backwards and they're not living up to standards as the United States. We got to stop that, man. These places have electricity. They have houses. They have infrastructure. They have access to internet. They have access to Wi-Fi. They have access to Spotify, Meek. Yes, they got access to Spotify. Meek, do you know they got access to Google? Robert, come here. People in Africa can go on Apple Music too. Oh my God, this is mind blowing. This is why we don't need, every time we come around to a presidential election, they start parading actors and celebrities in front of us to talk about our political issues. This is why we don't need that. We actually had a grown man in his mid-30s ask, how do people in specific countries on the continent of Africa listen to music? And then he doubled down and tried to put out another tweet. But like I said, when I first started, are you shitting me? Who asked that type of question? Usually they say there's no stupid question. That was one of the dumbest questions I read on the internet. There's that. So I'm going to venture outside of hip hop. We're going to end off with a few sports topics. We going to NBA land. I got something for this fella too. So in NBA land, let me pull this up so I get the context correct. Y'all bear with me a second. I just want to kick it with y'all. Our dear brother Kevin Durant. He puts out a tweet, an Instagram post, a conversation. The context of the conversation is why his name isn't in the GOAT discussion. Why isn't Kevin Durant's name in the GOAT discussion? That's what he's posing his question. And I don't know if y'all can see this on my phone, but here's the IG post or wherever. Again, Kevin, come here. Are you shitting me? Why isn't your name in the GOAT discussion? When we talk basketball in the NBA, we're going to have to start having two different conversations. We're going to have the conversation for the GOAT discussion and the elite score discussion. Big fan of Kevin Durant. He's going to go down as one of the most elite scorers. That is true. He might be top 5. He might be top 3. He's going to go down as one of the most elite scorers. I got no argument, no qualms with that. But that's totally different from the GOAT discussion. That's totally different from LeBron, Kareem, Michael Jordan, Kobe, Bill Russell, so forth. I want to say even Kobe, some people have Kobe in the top 5 or slightly out of the top 5. You know why you're not in the GOAT discussion. You haven't surpassed Kobe, and he's on the outside of the top 5. I don't think you surpassed Stephen Curry in the GOAT debate, and he's creeping up to it. If he wins another ring before his career is over, they're going to start comparing him to Magic as the best point guard ever, and then have him in the GOAT discussion. You haven't did enough in your 15-year career to be considered a GOAT. Again, respect. You are an elite scorer. I can give you that you fathered the style of a lot of these 6'11", 7'2" players that are coming in the league. The Chets, the Wembys, the Bobos. You fathered their style, that old hezzy tween pull up. Yeah, you fathered that for the 7-footers. But that doesn't mean you're a GOAT. Where are your defensive accolades? Outside of the accolades, can we talk about your leadership in Brooklyn? Outside of Golden State, what have you been doing? You have a couple years where you're injured, so there's a whole longevity thing. Do you even have the best basketball sneakers amongst your peers? Is your basketball sneakers better than the Kyries, the Hardens, the Tatums, and so forth? Oh, and speaking of Jason Tatum, last time we saw you versus Jason Tatum in the playoffs, metaphorically, he wiped his balls all over your face, and he sent Brooklyn up out of here. So you got that on your resume. Metaphorically, Jason Tatum wiped his balls across your face when y'all played the Celtics. What do you mean why you're not in the GOAT discussion? You might finish top 3 scorer if you keep this up for the next 5 years. If not, you're probably on the outer side of the 5. But that's just there. I don't know why you posed that question, why you uploaded it to IG, but God bless you, my brother. I want to talk about some NBA trade deadline before we get up out of here. I got a few other NBA topics. The new look Indiana Pacers. Now, as you guys can see, I have a Celtic jersey on. I'm a big Boston Celtic fan. The new Indiana Pacers scare me. I'm just going to keep it at that while with y'all. I know my Celtic comrades would be like, yo, yeah, you bugging. Why are you worried about the Indiana Pacers? In the regular season, I know the regular season is different from the playoffs. The Pacers beat both the Milwaukee Bucks. They also beat the Boston Celtics before Pascal Siakam. Now you add on a player who's an NBA champion, who's a versatile 3-4-5 player or 3-4 player, and an all-star to go along and take the pressure off of Tyrese Halliburton. They're going to scare teams in the playoffs, and I would say they might be a dark horse to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals with Boston. I'm going to go my team with Boston. I wouldn't be surprised if they upset either the 76ers or the Milwaukee Bucks and get all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. I know some people got New York as a dark horse. My dark horse is the 76ers. They look great with Pascal Siakam. Where do they finish in the East? I want to say they probably finish. They might finish fourth. Now, while we're talking sports, I got to keep it 100 with y'all. So I did a take a few months back, and I wouldn't be real unless I admit it when I'm wrong. So a few months back, I got in front of you guys when we were talking basketball, and I talked about the Clippers. Talked about James Harden. And damn, I put my foot in my mouth. Because as soon as I made that take about the Clippers not doing this and James Harden is washed up, what happened? They go on this amazing run. They look like they're coming out the Western Conference, health permitted. Now, the premise of that, and I'm not trying to clean this up, the premise of that was you can't use James Harden as the number one. And if you watch the way the Clippers are playing, he isn't playing as the number one. He's more like the second or third option. You got Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, and those two are interchangeable. After the 1 and the 2, then you got Harden. But I was talking reckless. I was talking saucy, so I'm not going to say my bad, but I was wrong. You got to be a man enough to come back on camera and say you're wrong in public. I was wrong on that Clipper take. The way the Clippers are looking right now, don't be surprised, health permit, as long as Kawhi's healthy and Paul George is healthy. Forget the Western Conference Finals. They make it to the championship and play my Celtics. That's my prediction for that. Just hold that. Put it in your back pocket till we get to the end of the season. I want to talk about the MVP ladder race. We're only halfway through the season. We're 40-something games in. Just thinking out loud, so I just need y'all to bear with me. So I'm going to bring this up. Right now, the Kia MVP ladder on a couple sites. Joel Embiid in number 1 place. I agree. Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets. I agree. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from OKC. New name. That young fella's been balling. Giannis, number 4. And number 5, I don't like, Luka Doncic. Some people call me a Luka hater. He has a high usage rate. He's going to get the numbers he gets, but I don't agree with him at number 5 because Dallas is in like 11th place in the Western Conference. And somewhere along the lines, your team got to be winning for you to be an MVP. Your team's not winning. Yeah, you putting up video game numbers, but you in 12th place. You might not make the play-in. I don't see a point in giving you an MVP. So I would like to replace Luka Doncic's name with 2 names. With Jason Tatum, obviously as a Celtic fan, and or Anthony Edwards from the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, although Jason Tatum's stats is better than Anthony Edwards, and they have the better record, I believe Ant-Man, he's putting a stamp on the game this year. He's putting the league on notice. Like, I'm that young dude coming. Y'all need to pay attention. He got some key wins so far in the season. He done took the ball out of Jason Tatum's hand. Even though they returned the favor and won that second game, Anthony Edwards did do some work earlier to Boston. They got a top record in the league, and they're rolling. I want to see Anthony Edwards in more MVP discussion talks and less Luka Doncic. Yes, Luka has video game numbers. Yes, he's a good player. But until the Dallas Mavericks get their record up, we can cut that out, man. Last topic before we out of here. So this isn't in sports, this isn't in hip-hop, this isn't in politics. This is within our culture, though. I'm going to expound on this when we do the podcast next week. But I've been seeing a lot online with students from a certain college. And I'll just come out and say it, with HBCU colleges. So the question I'm going to pose, and I'm going to give my little 2 cents before we wrap this up. With what we're seeing online with students at North Carolina A&T, with the foolishness that we talked about in Howard, with them investing in a Jordan wall and not investing in the students' dormitory and things like that. Are HBCUs presently Are they serving the needs for the students that they were attending for, which is black people? As currently constructed, are the HBCUs that we see today in 2023/24, are they serving the needs of the students they were attended for, which are as black students? From what I've been seeing from the various videos, especially at North Carolina A&T, I can't say all, so I'll say some. A lot of you are failing. A lot of our institutions, a lot of our HBCUs are failing. You got students showing up to North Carolina A&T and being told their name isn't on the list within the hundreds and thousands, and having them kicked off campus after they paid their out-of-state tuition. Some of them shipped to hotels, some of them not shipped to hotels, and them having a horrible experience as a black student at a HBCU after they're paying the tuition within the thousands. There's already the added pressure of them graduating in this economy, not knowing if they're going to have a job or not. So when a student says, you know what, I'm going to put my educational experience in HBCU, it has to be top tier. Now, again, I'm not saying all, but from what I've been seeing online, I'm believing the students that are posting hundreds of videos, whether it's on their IG or whether it's on TikTok. I'm not going to put a broad stroke on this story, but we got to do better with our institutions. From what I saw at Howard, and we talked about it on the podcast, that was top-level coonery. That was top-level coonery. What I'm seeing with North Carolina A&T and stories from other institutions, we got to do better before there's a mass exodus out of these HBCUs within the next 5 years, and then half of the institution shut down. Then you won't have nobody to blame but yourself. Like I said, I'm not going to be here before you guys long. This is something new. This is a new segment. You know, we spitballing, thinking out loud with Sonofajones. I'm going to come back with more content. I'm going to get in my groove. This was just the first one. I know I messed up and stumbled and mispronounced Nikki Haley's name and all that, but as you guys keep rocking with me, I'm going to get in the flow and give you guys some better content. So, as I always say on every podcast episode, I appreciate you guys rocking with me, whether it's one person or whether it's 1,000 people. Keep tuning in. You rocking with your host, Sonofajones, and we'll be back with my comrade Azar, and we're going to chop it up about Lamar and football, NFL. We're going to give y'all some dope content. Till next time, be easy.